Hi, everybody. My name is Erin Coleman, and I work at the Austin Animal Center. I am a vet tech. I'm in vet services, and I'm also part of a pair that runs the kitten nursery. Um, oh, okay, so just a little bit of background on Austin Animal Center before we go to the kittens. We are the largest no-kill open intake facility in the country. Um, and City Council voted in 2010 to go ahead and let us be a no-kill animal shelter, and we attained that status and have sustained it since 2011. Um, and we have a variety of programs inside the shelter. Um, we have a pet resource center. Our animal, we made kind of a cultural shift because in the past people always referred to animal control. Our officers are animal protection officers. They are there just as much to protect the animals as they are the people and the public. Um, and so the Austin Animal Center Nursery was formally formed in April of 2017. Um, it was kind of fun because they called myself and my partner down to the office and they said, "Hey, we want you to start a nursery." And we were like, "All right, what do you want us to do?" And they said, "Start a nursery." And we said, "Okay." So we did a lot of research, and we National Kitten Coalition, the Kitten Lady, just all kinds of information out there, and we got things up and running. Um, that first year, we took in over 2,300 kittens. The second year, we took in over 2,100, and last year we took in over 3,100. We had a giant kitten explosion last year. Um, and that has a lot to do with the climate in Texas. If we don't have a winter, we're going to keep having kittens. Um, like this little tiny baby that we actually just got on Tuesday. Uh, these little itty bitty ones. This little kitty's probably 2 days old, and we don't yet have the capacity to keep these guys in the shelter because they require overnight care. So we have a really great partnership with Austin Pets Alive, and they have a 24-hour nursery. They have a huge team of volunteers that come in and help them, and they have a facility that's located in a place where they can have 24-hour access. So these little guys here usually only stay with us for the day or a few hours, and then they get transferred out. Um, but there's never a dull moment in our nursery. Um, there's only two of us, myself and Angel works the opposite end of the week. There's only one day that we overlap together, which is why we always need volunteers because we have a million things to do every day. It's a little bit strange right now with the COVID, and we're not 100% open to the public. Um, but one of the big duties that we have is these little kitties, anything under a pound and a half gets weighed every single day. We record it on a paper report, and then it gets put in our computer system, and it becomes a part of their official medical records. Um, we feed them a special mix of food that we got with one of our veterinarians. She's kind of our cat specialist, and came up with a good mix of foods with extra protein and fiber and calories and extra glucose, all that stuff in it. Um, we got to monitor everything that goes in, and then we monitor everything that comes out. Kittens are they look hardy and they're kind of little daredevils, but they can actually be pretty fragile. Their systems kind of have a delicate balance. And if that gets out of whack, things can go south really quickly, which was kind of part of the reason why we developed the nursery. Um, as we just kind of identified gaps in some of our areas of care. Another thing that we do is we get to triage for incoming kittens. Sometimes we'll help with the medical stuff in the beginning, but we have to go up and make sure, is this a kitten that is, old enough to stay? Does it eat on its own? Does it weigh enough? Does it have any kind of symptoms of illness? Fleas, we check everything for fleas. And then we get to also monitor everybody that is between 2 months old and 5 months old, because at any given time when we run this report that we have, and it shows everything in the shelter from birth to 5 months old, and we hit a couple of times this last year where we had over 400 kittens on our report in one day. Yet another reason that we need volunteers. Any kind of help that we can get with all of this is super fantastic. We also, that's Angel there in the corner. We get to do a lot of public relations and kind of public health education with the public. We have a lot of customers that come in that find kittens, or in this particular slide, puppies, and they really want to try to go ahead and keep a hold of them instead of putting them in the shelter system. So Angel and I just happened to both be there that day, and it happened to be a litter of 12 newborn puppies. So we went up and we spent time with the people, and we kind of walked them through how to bottle feed. Puppies and kittens this small, they can't go to the bathroom on their own. So we had teach everybody how to, help them along with going to the bathroom. We give them all kinds of information on, resources for low cost options for whenever the animals are old enough, for spay and neuter or vaccines. Also, Austin Animal Center does do free microchipping and identification tags. So anytime that we're open to the public, when we're back open to the public, you can come in and get a free microchip for your pet. So how can we reduce the number of cats and kittens coming into the shelter? Community Cats program. Our Community Cats program is really awesome. We partner with Austin Humane Society. They do the actual spay and neuters, but we have Adrienne right now is our Community Cats coordinator, and she really, over the last year, took that program to a whole nother level. So some people aren't really, familiar with community cats. Community cat is an outdoor cat. It is not owned by a particular person. They're free roaming. Home looks a lot different to them than it does to, our household cats. Kind of like, Sherry was talking about with the ocelots. They have their, places that they go. These guys will kind of live in bushes or dig holes under sheds, and they find little nooks and crannies that they're safe for them and that they're comfortable. This kitty here is Domino. He lives on the UT campus, and he's actually a little celebrity over there. And if you see in the bottom slide there, back in the bushes, he has a really nice little house that they set up for him. And you'll see housing made out of all kinds of different stuff. Some of the community cats volunteers will make them out of styrofoam coolers. They'll take just your regular plastic household totes, and you flip them upside down, you cut a hole in it, and you make sure that the bottom is, or well, the top is secured to the bottom, and you flip them over, and they'll pack them with hay, or blankets, just, things to keep them warm during the cold season, and comfortable. So these guys have caretakers versus having owners. So caretakers are kind of, guardians. They feed the cats. They make sure they have water. Some of these housing units you'll actually see when you go out and see them. They'll have little containers next to them or on top of them, and the uh, sorry, I'm stumbling. The caretakers will have containers of like food and jugs of water in there. And then, as they empty out, they'll just bring a new one and replace it. Sometimes it's one person maintaining a site, and sometimes you could have several caretakers for one site. It kind of depends on how many cats there are at that location. And then in this shot too, they're taking Domino to go get his rabies vaccines and get a little health checkup. Because that's another thing that the community cats volunteers do is they monitor the health of these animals. If there's anybody that's sick or injured, they will contact the community cats program and figure out, what the best options are to get these cats looked at and give them the assistance that they need. So the other part of community cats is the TNR, which is trap, neuter, and return. So this trap here that's in this picture is actually one of the most humane traps that they make for our size animals. They don't have a door that slams down really hard. Really, the only injuries that you ever see are kind of self-inflicted, where the cats will kind of scrape their nose up on the wires and things like that. Keeping the trap covered actually helps keep the cat calm, because it creates more like a cave environment for them. And then they're not having all the extra visuals that may make them nervous. Step 2 is getting them over to Austin Humane Society to get them neutered. And then they have a certain amount of recovery time over there. And then step 3 is taking them out and returning them to the area that they came from. And that guy is really eager to go back to where he came from. We do always make sure that the area that they're going back to is a safe area. When they go back out to release, if the AHS person on duty that day doesn't feel like that's a safe area, they don't release the cat. They bring it back to us, and we figure out alternative solutions for that cat. We do work with Austin Pets Alive. They have a barn cat program. They have a really good set of instructions how to acclimate a feral or a semi-feral cat to a new area before you just kind of turn them loose. And here's where you can see on this chart where Adrian took over the Community Cats program in 2018, and the number of cats that got spayed and neutered went up significantly. Since 2014, there have been 6,708 cats spayed and neutered. And the reason that is such a significant number is because of the fact that a female cat can go into heat between 1 and 3 times in a season. Depending in Texas, sometimes it could potentially throw an extra one in there, if we stay hot longer. And the average litter is about 5 kittens. It can be as few as 1 or 3. The biggest one I've ever seen in 18 years was a cat that had 12 kittens. I felt sorry for that mom. So for every one of these cats that's spayed and neutered, that's an average of 5 less cats that are out there in the community wandering the streets. So this is how small actions can end up making a big difference. This first picture here, when we talk about weight, if you find kittens out in the community, like say under a bush, or sometimes cats like to go in people's planters and things like that. But if you find kittens and you think the mom has abandoned them, that's not necessarily the case. As a matter of fact, most of the time it's not the case. But if it's a feral cat, she, has to go out and hunt and, look for resources for herself to be able to take care of her kittens. if they're quiet, if they're clean looking and they're chubby, then there's most definitely a mom around. We don't want people to automatically, as human beings, it's in our nature to want to save things and help them. But in this case, it's actually not a good thing to automatically grab the kittens up. We have a new promotion out there. It's called "Don't Kidnap Me," and it's basically explains, that you should leave them there, wait for the mom to come back. If you have doubts that their mom is around, you can always take some flour or some cornstarch and make a little circle around where the kittens are. Wait 4 to 6 hours, not in the immediate area, out of sight where the mom can't see you, but you can still see the area, and then go back and check to see if there's any disturbances in that line, footprints, anything like that, because then that'll give you, a good indication that yes, the mom is coming back and she's coming in and out of the area. And there's a lot of people have the fallacy still that the mom, if you touch the kittens, the mom won't come back. And that's not true. Kind of like if I, set my child down somewhere and somebody else touches it, I'm not, oh, I'm not done with you. Like, that's still my child. I'm still going to go back and take care of them. And it's the same for the cats. They don't necessarily attach the logical thought to the action, but they're not just going to abandon them because you touch the kittens. So we really ask that people wait and leave them there until, they're just still 6 weeks old if possible. If it becomes a really unsafe situation, you can always contact our pet resource center, and, we can try to help you out and figure out what to do. We do provide resources for people through Friends of Austin Animal Center is a group that supports projects and equipment and trainings and things for the animal shelter. And they actually, for the last 3 kitten seasons, have provided us with these really awesome kits that we put together with all the things that you would need, for the first day of taking a kitten home. So once we, get the kittens in the shelter, then our next objective is to get them out to foster as quickly as possible. We want to try to limit their time in the shelter as much as we can, because they do still have, fragile immune systems even once they've had like the first set of boosters. So we want to limit their exposure to anything, which if you do come and volunteer with us in the kitten nursery, you will find out how strict I am about that. Angel and I, if you're not supposed to be in the nursery, you're not coming in the nursery. So then volunteering, we have all different kinds of programs for cats. We have, volunteers that come in and they just help with adoptions in the regular cat areas. We have volunteers that come in and help with behavioral issue cats. They come in and they'll do a lot of socializing with cats, like after hours, when the shelter's a little bit more quiet and calm. We have a program for older cats. It's called Desperate House Cats. And some of these cats, they're a little bit older. They have medical issues. Not all of them do, but some of them do. And they come in and they do an adoption event at least once a month. And then, of course, that brings us to adoption. When you adopt an animal from our shelter, you get an animal that has, vaccines. Depending on the age, it may be fully vaccinated for the year. Microchip, spay and neuter. I think they send you home with like all kinds of information and sometimes extra goodies when we have them. And every animal that goes out the front door of the shelter, whether it's through, fostering or adopting, that makes the space for the next animal that's coming in. And especially during kitten season, space is like gold. So our all of our information on how you can sign up to be a volunteer, how you can sign up to be a foster, your preliminary like adoption application, even I think it's called your visitor profile. You can find all that information on austinanimalcenter.org. It also has links to like our lost and found section. If you want to sign up to be a community cats volunteer, or you need some assistance with TNR resources, you can reach our community cats coordinator at communitycats@austintexas.gov. And then we have internal Facebook groups for if you do become a foster or a volunteer. But our public Facebook groups, we have one for Austin Animal Center as a whole. We have a volunteer run Facebook page called Kitties of Austin. They post all kinds of fun, cute, ridiculous pictures all the time. And then Friends of Austin Animal Center, like I said, they are the group that supports a lot of the things that we need at the shelter. For instance, when we moved from the old shelter to the new shelter, Friends of Austin Animal Center helped vet services in particular with a lot of medical equipment, x-ray machine, we got a dental machine, things like that. They sponsored all of our kitten care kits for the last 2 or 3 kitten seasons. They're actually sponsoring some smaller versions right now to try to help people out that have found kittens during this COVID, because they can't really just bring them right in like they normally could. So they're sponsored a bunch of those kits too that we still have on hand. And that one was actually my last slide.
Wow, that was fantastic. Thank you, Erin. Absolutely. Let's pause for all the applause that you would be getting if we were in the same room with your audience. That was really great. And this is a topic that's near and dear to my heart. Back in a different life, I owned a farm in New Jersey, and I was a certified feral cat colony manager.
So
I actually, New Jersey had a program where you could go and take a course in how to manage feral cats, which are calling community cats. And I was wondering, and so is someone on our Twitch Q&A, is there a training program in Texas that anybody can go to?
So I don't think there are any like organized classes per se, but you can always get, training through like our Community Cats program. There's a lot of good information like on Alley Cat Allies.
Mm-hmm.
They have a lot of really good information on TNR. There are some other local rescue groups that would probably be real helpful in that. Shadow Cats and Street Cat Rescue both deal with a lot of feral and semi-feral cat issues, but I don't think, unfortunately, there are any like organized like certification kind of classes yet.
Okay. Well, those are all good resources for sure for anyone that got a bunch of cats and wants to know how to treat them right. Great. We have some other questions. Oh, when you do the TNR, do you notch the ears?
Yes. It actually used to be, they used to literally make a little V notch in their ear, and they've transitioned to that to where they actually just cut the tip off of the left ear.
Okay. If you have community cats, how do you prevent other wildlife like raccoons from eating the food that's left for the cats?
Unfortunately, most of the time you don't.
Right. I knew that was going to be the answer.
Yeah, I have in my neighborhood, one of our neighbors across the street, and I live in a subdivision, and she, is a cat feeder, and she occasionally gets raccoons in her garage. Yeah.
Okay. So if you want to foster, do you get any sort of assistance like supplies or food or anything?
Oh, yes. So our foster program, the only thing that they don't supply is the cat litter. But you get food, wet food, dry food. If you foster, an adult cat that maybe is on a prescription diet, the shelter provides that. We provide all the medical care, vaccines, everything while you're fostering.
Oh, that's great. Well, this whole show has been really feel good, and Erin, I want to thank you so much for coming on and giving a fantastic talk.
Thank you. I was really nervous.
Oh, you did great.
I'm glad it went okay.
Absolutely.